All right, welcome to the unofficial review. I'm Seats, and this is my football review. So today I just want to do a quick video on the Indianapolis Colts and Andrew Luck. Just something I've been talking about since Andrew Luck's been drafted. As far as my feelings about him, I feel like I think he is definitely one of the most talented young quarterbacks that has been drafted. But I mean, my big concerns are just some of the stuff going on around it, because that's one of the things that they're talking about right now. Is it Andrew Luck's not getting it done? Whereas some people are saying that it's the coaching, and some people are saying it's the front office. And again, this is me just observing everything going on around it, and then just kind of bringing up the whys in certain circumstances that to me has led up to this point to where they're not even viewed as a playoff team. And it seems like for the amount of talent he does have, because like I said, I do think he is very talented, they should be better off than they really are. But I'm going to point out just a handful of things that I think has led up to that point. And one of them was, I would say, the front office. I think that the GM and people getting, long story short, I don't know why the Colts paid him so much. That was one of the things that I said. I'm like, don't get me wrong, I think he's just as talented as anybody making that kind of money to a certain degree. But the year that led up to that contract, he sucked. He was horrible. He was probably one of the most mediocre quarterbacks. And so I'm like, you had no reason to pay him. They've made it to the playoffs a couple of times. I think they maybe have a playoff win, but he doesn't have this huge list of accomplishments that you have to pay him for. So I'm like, so you're given the opportunity. I'm not saying be a bastard and undercut him, but you don't certainly make him the most high-paid quarterback in the NFL when there's at least a half a dozen other quarterbacks who have played better than he has. So it's just one of those things where it's like, so I mean, I guess you could say, well, kudos for not being all about the business. But I mean, while I don't think that I don't like when a lot of teams think from just a business standpoint, you do have to be somewhat fiscally responsible. Because on the other hand, you're not helping him out, because that's my thing. Was that when you made him the highest paid quarterback, my thing is, it's like, all right, so before he got that money, you guys didn't have a whole lot of talent around him. So now you've got $27 million less to spend on helping him out. And that was my issue. I'm like, people keep talking about how he has a lack of help, how that defense really isn't that good, how that offensive line really isn't that good. Well, how is it going to get any better by overpaying him? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like I said, you didn't have to undercut him and insult him or what have you, but I didn't even hear about contract discussions between it. It was just done deal. And it's like, well, when you look at making him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL and he hasn't accomplished anything, why would he argue? I'd sign it the first freaking minute they showed it to me, right? So the fact that it went so fast and there was no discussion talks at all about the contract makes me think he got overpaid. And like I said, he didn't have the accolades, he didn't have the accomplishments where you need to overpay him. And like I said, it doesn't do him a bit of good. If it's one of those things where I'm not a fan of the Patriots, but I think Tom Brady a few years back took a pay cut so that he could pay other people and make more of a built team around him. So it's one of those things where that I think is a huge part of why they're not succeeding right now. And on the other side, I do think that Andrew Luck's decision making is he needs to, and this is going to lead to my second reason or my third reason, but his decision making needs to improve dramatically. And it's the point where I've just seen him make extremely poor decisions early in a game. I understand if you're down and out and it's the fourth quarter and you need to make up some stuff, but he's thrown way too many pick sixes in the first quarter. He's threw way too many picks in the first quarter. He just takes too many risks way too early on. So that's something that I feel like he needs to work on dramatically. It's just working on perspective. Hey, what are the circumstances? It's just almost kind of like he needs to predetermine, all right, in the first quarter, I'm willing to make these shots, but I have to live to fight another day. When it gets to this point, if they're up by so many scores, I need to go into this repertoire of this, a few more riskier plays. But gradually do it. Don't frickin' just go all or nothing right out of the gate, because like the Cardinals are seeing, when you go all or nothing, a lot of times you get nothing. Now, granted, the Cardinals bounce back, but again, they definitely need to watch themselves. But anyhow, we're talking about Andrew Luck. So like I said, Andrew Luck just needs to focus on developing when he can make riskier decisions, but it just seems like way too many times he's making poor decisions, and he's not thinking about what he needs to do. Like the other day when they were in that 4th and 1, he saw the guy who was wide open or whatever, but the big thing was, don't focus on that. Take the first down. You know your legs. The way they have to tackle Andrew Luck is like a tight end. So I'm like, with your size, with your mobility, that first down was yours on the ground. And so you need to make the smarter decision and not think of, oh, if I dump it off, he could pull it off for 10 or 15. No, it's 4th and 1. You make the first smart decision. You get that first down, and you live to fight another day as far as getting bigger yards. But that's how he needs to work on it. Is he needs to focus on the big game and how to get that done, and not just the what ifs. And if I throw this now, I could be the hero. Just look at the circumstances again, and try to make decisions based on where you're at in the game, and take risk later on. But to me, a big part of why he's making those risks and making those poor decisions, again, as much as I hate, he's a great guy, but one of the guys that I feel like should have been canned, and I think he should have been canned before last year, but going in this year, he got an extension, which is Chuck Pagano, the head coach. That's one of the things that I've been saying for the last few years now, is that whenever I see him on the sidelines and they're not doing well, he's just kind of got this sad, the sad look. And I'm not going to knock a guy or whatever. That's his personality. I think he's one of those guys where he's one of those guys where, for me, Andrew Luck, after 10 years of success, after 10 years in the league, I think Chuck Pagano would be a great head coach, because he's one of those guys who is that you want to fight for. But the problem with that is right now Andrew Luck doesn't need a guy he wants to fight for. He needs a guy that's going to coach him up. He needs a guy that's going to light a fire under his ass and get him going and make him essentially fess up and get his ass chewed when he needs to be chewed. Because I don't see a guy like Chuck Pagano really tearing into a guy. I see him more like talking to you like a big brother, just kind of like a, hey, put his arm around him. It sucks that you did that, but we're going to work. No, he needs a guy who's going to smack him in the face and keep him taut. Andrew Luck's a young guy, and that's the thing too, is you go back to the most successful point in Andrew Luck's career, and it was under Bruce Arians, not Chuck Pagano. It was when Bruce Arians was the interim head coach, and that's the thing about Bruce Arians, is he is a guy who's going to light into you. He's going to keep you accountable on the field. He ain't going to have a problem letting you have it and letting you know what he really thinks. And to me, I think that's what Andrew Luck needs. I think he needs a guy who's going to get fired up, a guy like Jim Harbaugh or a handful of other guys who are going to light a fire under his ass, so to speak, and get him improving. Because like I said, Chuck Pagano, he's a likable guy, but it's just, to me, he's just not the leader that Andrew Luck needs. But yeah, so that's just my feeling. Hopefully they can get into a rhythm. I'd like to see the Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts, in the winning ways, where they can compete for playoffs, can get back into the circle of successful teams. Just because, like I said, kind of reminds me of like a Jim Plunkett or whatever, sitting with a talentless team, where he himself is talented, but because he's at the, I think Plunkett went to Miami and New England. At the time, there was nothing else other than Jim Plunkett. So Jim Plunkett looked like he sucked, but when he went to a team that had some talent, the Raiders, he won 2 Super Bowl rings. So again, it's just one of those things where Andrew Luck just needs the help. Like I said in other movies, Elway didn't do it until he had Terrell Davis. Peyton Manning didn't do it. We saw this last year. He had the #1 defense, and then he got his 2nd Super Bowl ring. So guys have always had help, and Andrew Luck's no different. He needs some help, and like I said, he needs help with the head coach, and he needs help with the talent around him. Maybe they need to look at restructuring that contract so they can beef up that offensive line with some more money or something. But that's the thing, is that if you want to ask me where the help needs to come from, it needs to come from a new head coach that's going to get him let up, maybe like a Singletary, and then so it's just what I'm seeing. All right, we'll be talking to you soon.